This is Colin with ATO, and this is the newest member of the Hybrid Tools family, Prophecy. Before I begin, just about everything you're hearing comes out of Prophecy. It is a dark and atmospheric exploration of sound that puts inspiration at your fingertips. Prophecy is designed with a fast workflow in mind to get you ideas and inspiration quickly, and it will complement all of your sampled instruments and synths you already own. This is a superb tool that gets you thinking outside of the box. Let's start by talking about the three divisions of sounds within Prophecy. The first two collections of sounds really are geared towards getting you that instant inspiration. They're full of dystopian post-apocalyptic sounds, booms, textures, and tonal elements. The last section provides you with some killer synth sounds. These synth sounds are great for making top lines, pad leads, and they're sure to take priority in your productions to help bolster and give them that emotional energy that they need. So here's a demo I was able to put together in a very short amount of time using Prophecy as my main source of inspiration. In this project, we have drums provided by Neo. We also have one instance of Zebra 2 doing an arpeggiated synth line, and a guitar pluck from ATO Aura guitars, as well as some vocal elements. Everything else is Prophecy. And there you have it. Very, very cool. And again, it's super easy and it's so fun just to play around with this instrument and really explore what it can do. So just to really quickly show some things that I did particularly for this demo, I want to focus on the bass for a moment here. So what you can do with Prophecy is layer up some of the sounds and really get this neat rhythmic type thing going with the bass, which I used for an interesting effect here. So as you can see here, these two tracks of Prophecy, one is using divination, and the other one is also using divination. They're both using sounds from the Visions collection. I have some volume automation going on, which actually gives it a very cool kind of sucking effect, as you'll see right here. Very kind of industrial, post-apocalyptic, but with super low end and tons of grit. It's just so easy to use these sounds. They sound so good out of the box. It really makes writing a joy. Another cool thing too is there's that sort of motor sub frequency thing going on, and I really just wanted to bring some attention to this really quickly. So this is a sound out of the Soothsayer collection called Impacts, and basically they're mostly impacts, but they're just something done differently. They're super low end friendly and they have tons of character, and you can really just make cool rhythmic little ideas with that. So here's what I did for this one. And you can really go nuts. There's just so many sounds in here. It's hard to just cover all of the things in one demo. But I mean, just playing up on the keyboard, there's such a massive variety of sounds to go through. And on top of that, we have these amazing tonal elements here, which are basically just things that I found in Prophecy that I felt added a lot of character. And they're not quite bass, and they're not full on just synth sounds. They're sort of in between. They're a little bit atonal. There's lots of interest in them, but I find they just add tons of character, and they really kind of help to embellish a piece of music with more emotional weight. It really makes something feel like it's been, been through a war. It's been through some intergalactic sort of conflict. And here's what some of those sound like here. And you can hear that gated sound is really easy to make. All it is one of the sounds out of the Unknowable collection in the Soothsayer part of Prophecy. And what I've done is I've actually used the Rhythmic Gate. On top of that, I'm using these killer effects built in to really give it that grunginess, and it just really has that kind of gated rhythmical thing that really works well with the subhits to give you the motor of the whole piece. And last but not least, we have these amazing sounding synths, and I really love to use these for all sorts of atmosphere. You can add basically just a bed of background melodic type elements that really push things. So here we have basically Zebra and the guitar plucks. If I just solo these out really quickly, you can hear what they're doing. But when I throw everything else in, all the stuff Prophecy's doing, you really get this amazing tapestry of a landscape. And again, it is so easy to use this instrument to write just really moving synth lines. For example, really quickly here, this main line that you hear throughout the piece is using the sounds from Cursed in the synth catalog. And if I just play that by itself, here's what you have. It's a very sort of gritty, almost a guitar almost like a violin. And the beautiful thing is because these are all abstractly named, it really forces you to think outside the box, and then you start thinking in terms of orchestration for all the synth parts. Beyond taking a front seat in your productions, Prophecy also does an amazing job of just providing support roles for all your pre-existing mockups and projects that you're currently working on. I found Prophecy did a really great job for just providing that atmosphere after I'd already made a fully realized orchestral mockup. It just adds that little extra bit of panache and character that really makes your piece sound lived in. Really quickly, before I start this demo, I just want to play the Prophecy parts here. So what I have Prophecy doing in this particular piece, it's twofold. So I have some effects going on, which again are those atonal type atmospheric things. I don't even know what you could really call them. They're just textural elements. So I want to play those really quickly here, just so you get an idea of what these are going to sound like before you hear the fully realized piece. So you're going to hear that throughout the piece. They're just sort of like these effect almost type hits. On top of that, I have my synths here being performed by Prophecy as well. And these are just providing that support. There's pads, there's some leads, all kinds of really interesting stuff happening. Right at the very beginning, we have this really beautiful opening pad that sort of sounds almost like a very low tuned cello, very drony and resonant. So I really love this part because it really gives Prophecy a chance to really shine and do what it does best, just establish that sense of really foreboding atmosphere. This particular line I found really interesting because it's a very rich sound that you can write synth leads with. And what's really useful about it is it's quite meaty. It's got lots of that low mid, which sometimes you struggle to get with other instruments. And it just seems to mesh really well with all the other elements in the mix. Another thing I really want to point out that's sort of a key element throughout this piece are these beautiful pads that will feature throughout. And these are being used out of the synth part of Prophecy. And it's this particular patch here called Injurious. Just check this out. It's gorgeous. It really sounds nice, especially when you play it over a long chord. I found that really kind of helps. And it's not quite rhythmic, it's sort of rubato. And that's a beautiful thing to have because in this world of MIDI and quantization, that little bit of something that gives it a bit of a human touch does a lot to give this piece a definite quality that doesn't sound as robotic and metered. So now that you know what the Prophecy elements sound like in this particular track, I want to show you this full realized piece. And I'm just going to disappear in the background and enjoy. And there you have it. And I hope you really enjoyed that. This is Hybrid Tools Prophecy, coming soon.